XRP holders, we have a massive week coming up. We have Ripple coming out talking about Ripple Prime Brokerage spot offerings OTC. Then we also have Ripple Swell 2025 happening in New York, November 4th through the 5th. Don't go anywhere because we're going to cover some stories in this video that's going to do with these two topics and how they're going to impact the market, which means how that's going to impact your investments. Don't go anywhere as we dive into Ripple Swell and Ripple Prime Brokerage. Okay, so we're going to dive into the Ripple Prime Brokerage and Ripple Swell and what impact that's going to have on you as an investor. Before we do, let's go ahead and look at crypto bubbles and get a feel for the market, because I know you're feeling the pain and you're wondering what is going on out there. So let's address that. So if you look on your screen right here, this is crypto bubbles on the daily. As you can see, it is painful. XRP is down right here at 6.6%. It feels brutal, but let's look at the weekly. The weekly does not feel any better when you look at XRP. It's still down 13.3%. And then let's do the same thing on the monthly. Man, 21.3% down. That does not feel good. But we look at the yearly. XRP rocking and rolling at 356% still up. Same thing with XLM 203, HBAR at 290, and Algo at 40.2% up. So when we step back and we look at the overall market in the macro view, we're still up. We're still doing good. If you were somebody that's been in for a year, you're still having 356% profit. What's the problem, right? Why would you sell off of that? So for the people that are new and you didn't get in at those cheaper prices, XRP is a still healthy investment. When you look at the yearly macro view of it, we're just going through a rough season right now, which is to be expected with this time of year. We're on the doorstep of altcoin season, and then we're also on the doorstep of mass adoption and all this news stories coming out. We hear that the Clarity Act is expected to be signed by Thanksgiving of this year, which is the linchpin we need to move forward in the market to bring mass adoptions to crypto. That is still a big piece that keeps major money, which is major liquidity, out of the market. So now let's talk about Ripple Prime Brokerage and the announcement that came out November 3rd. So you'll see right here on your screen from X, Brad Garlinghouse himself reposted this from Ripple. It says Ripple Prime breaks ground in the U.S. today with the launch of digital asset spot prime brokerage capabilities, allowing clients to execute OTC, which is over-the-counter spot transactions, across the most prominent digital assets and stable coins, including XRP and RLUSD. So why that is huge, something you have to understand about OTC capabilities when they're offering OTC over-the-counter spot asset purchases for institutions through Ripple. That means now that your outlets like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, they're not seeing those transactions. So the market's not really seeing the true value of an asset or how much it's moving when it's essentially being done under the table, like an OTC or a dark pool. So you may be having a lot of XRP being purchased up by institutions, but we as an everyday person won't be seeing that when we're using basic tools as CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko to track those movements. We're only going to be seeing what's on the actual exchanges right now, right? Which is what they say, about 3 billion XRP left on exchanges as a total. So it's not that much left when you think about the big picture, right? But let's keep reading. Let's hear from Ripple directly from their website on what they had to say about the Prime Brokerage being announced. So right here, you'll see on your screen, it says Ripple launches digital asset spot Prime Brokerage for the United States market. As we roll down, it says following the closure of Hidden Road acquisition, the Prime Brokerage clearing and financing platform Ripple Prime now supports all major digital asset product types in the U.S. I'm going to read that again. Now supports all major digital asset product types in the U.S. It says Ripple, a financial technology company that offers crypto solutions for businesses, today announced the launch of digital asset spot Prime Brokerage capabilities for the United States market. U.S.-based institutional clients are now able to execute OTC spot transactions across dozens of the most prominent digital assets, including XRP and RLUSD. Following the acquisition of multi-asset prime brokerage Hidden Road, Ripple has combined its license with Hidden Road Solutions under Ripple Prime, providing new capabilities where institutions can seamlessly access foreign exchange, digital assets, derivative swaps, and fixed income. The launch of OTC spot execution capabilities complements our existing suite of OTC and clear derivatives services in digital assets and positions U.S. to provide U.S. institutions with a comprehensive offering to suit their trading strategies and needs. International CEO Ripple Prime states. So what I'm pointing out right there is going to be now you have Ripple offering over-the-counter spot access to XRP, meaning they are selling the actual asset directly to institutions from Ripple, bypassing any kind of exchange, as we knew they would do, of course. And with them having that Hidden Roads license to be able to make that happen, that's genius, because they're just going to buy their licenses. They don't need to file for the licenses. When you can just buy the company that has it, then use their license to accomplish your mission. And that's exactly what they just did with Hidden Road, which again is genius. But let's read on a little bit more about a story that comes from CoinDesk on October 24th, 2025. It gives you a little bit more insights as to the Ripple Prime Brokerage and Hidden Road and what kind of value that's going to bring. So you look on your screen, it says Ripple Prime is the fintech firm's one-stop institutional trading and financing desk. Ripple Prime builds trading, financing, and clearing for institutions in one service with risk controls, regulated custody, and optional RLUSD collateral. And just what to know, Ripple has completed the Hidden Road acquisition and rebranded the business as Ripple Prime. Ripple says Prime's business has tripled since the deal was announced and serves 300 plus institutions with over $3 trillion cleared already. Stablecoin RLUSD will be used as collateral by some clients, with Ripple aiming to expand its role via the new unit. So Ripple Prime moving $3 trillion, and this is how you start getting the value of XRP to go up. Right now, it's barely being used. There's barely any money on the actual ledger, which we'll cover here in a second. We're going to talk about that, so don't go anywhere. Then we're also going to follow up with Ripple Swell, the agenda, and the speakers who will be there. And this is going to be the key aspect of it, because when you understand who's truly there and what powerhouse is there, you understand the power of Ripple as a whole. But before I move on, as you'll see on your screen here, this is from Nick at Crypto Crusaders, or you might see him on YouTube as Ncash Official. This has been going on for a little bit now. There's actually been a crackdown on certain creators covering certain topics on certain platforms that is hindering people from making videos. So why I'm bringing this up is, if you are seeing this video, you're this far in, you're 6 minutes in, you must have liked something. So this is imperative. If you will, please like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't. The more interaction with the video, the more YouTube will push it. And there is a need for this information out there for other people, because their content creator is being suppressed to a degree, let's say. I'm trying to be careful here so it doesn't happen to myself as well. But if you could hit the like button, get this information out there for other people, because my channel is so small comparatively. They may not see this information out there, but they may need it. So hook them up, hit the like button, share with a friend, get it out there. Now let's move into RWA.XYZ, and let's take a look at the XRP Ledger, and let's see what kind of momentum we're having already with this transaction happening. So you'll see on your screen the XRP Ledger has $369.28 million of RWA value. Stablecoin market cap, $352.98 million. What I want to bring out here is, look at this wall. Done it before, but we go from 7.6 or 7.725 at $118 million. And then just at 7.925, we got $252 million virtually overnight. And if you look at this black line up here, this is Open Eden T-bill vault, which a T-bill is U.S. Treasury. So we have U.S. Treasuries being moved on XRP Ledger. And you'll see on the fourth dot down, you'll see the Ondo short-term U.S. government bond fund as well has $40 million. So we have the U.S. Treasury tightly knit with XRP Ledger. And we keep on rolling down. You look at the asset class. Let's look at stablecoin. Stablecoin is up 54.58% in the last 30 days. And you'll see the market share. That means that's 31.93% market share up in the last 30 days. This is taken off. Ripple's becoming more prominent in the market is what I'm pointing out here. What I've been telling people is the ledger has barely been used. It's not truly activated yet. The ledger's not activated yet. The token's not fully being used yet. RLUSD is not fully being used yet, but we are seeing that momentum happening, as you can see from that graph. Now let's keep going. You'll see this is actually RLUSD. And you'll see this, I want to point out here, the total value is up 23% in the last 30 days, making it $972.99 million, a monthly transfer of $5.16 billion. But you will ask, well, why don't you see that on the XRP Ledger? Because it's actually a lot of that money is on the Ethereum Ledger via RLUSD. And they hold $819.7 million, but they're still seeing an increase of 17.35%. And then the XRP Ledger, this is amazing. Look at this. You'll see the XRP Ledger is actually seeing an influx of 67.76% of RLUSD being used on the XRP Ledger. And what I've been telling people for a while now is as RLUSD, XRP Ledger, and Ripple become more prominent and more trusted and more utilized, you're going to see that money coming from the Ethereum ledger and swing it back to the XRP ledger. And right now, with it being on Ethereum, people don't understand that how massive RLUSD really is and what it's going to be, because it's kind of hidden. It's kind of tricky unless you dive into it. So now let's look at the price action for XRP. As of today, you'll see on your screen, this is at $2.35. With the weekly view is sad. It hurts. But keep in mind, we do know Ripple Swell is coming up. So this $2.35 drop off is no big surprise to me. When I look at something like Ripple Swell coming up, with them announcing Ripple Prime Brokerage right before the date, it's literally the day before Ripple Swell happens, Ripple drops this announcement about OTC spot assets being available on Ripple Prime Brokerage, right? So what a coincidence. So we see major announcements like Ripple Swell happening. The market's always going to reflect that. It always typically goes red right around that time. And I've been saying that for this channel for a long time. You'll see that happening. But let's look at Ripple Swell and see the couple of the key announcers, speakers there. This is going to be from All In Crypto. He just had a perfect one-pager, so I'm going to use it. It shows and explains that BlackRock, JPMorgan, Citi, DBS, CME Group, NASDAQ, and the White House, as well as BNY Mellon, will all be in attendance and will all be speakers at Ripple Swell. So why is that massive? Well, I asked the question, what other crypto companies have this massive amount of support from these bigwigs, such as BlackRock, United States, the list goes on. You don't see too many other crypto projects that have that much support from these major institutions. But let's take a look at the agenda and see what they're going to be talking about and what company is going to be teaming up with what topic, because that's very important when you look at that and gives us clues as to what next year is going to bring. So let's look at this. November 4th, you have keynote fireside chat with the chair and chief executive officer of the NASDAQ. That's going to be with Monica Long and the executive officer of NASDAQ. Then at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, you're going to have the impact of tokenized financial assets on capital markets. This is where the director of digital assets of BlackRock is going to be there sharing the stage with Robinhood and Moody's and CoinDesk. And then we keep rolling down. You're more than welcome to take a look or pause that and see the other topics, or you can simply click the link in my description to get the link. And we'll keep rolling down. We're now on Wednesday, November 5th. We have the role of the leadership in the global digital asset markets, a conversation with the executive director of the President's Council of Advisors for Digital Assets at the White House, Patrick Witt. So Patrick Witt on stage with Brad Garlinghouse himself, representing the White House, representing Ripple. That's hand in hand. That image alone is massive and powerful. Now let's keep going. We have maturity and digital asset adoption, where you have JPMorgan on stage with Axios as well. So we have JPMorgan finally coming around and saying, hey, we're backing Ripple Swell, which is massive because JPMorgan has always denied crypto for the longest time until recently. And then lastly, we have driving global growth and trust with RLUSD, which we have Chief Innovation Officer of OKX, Securitize Chief Executive Officer, and Jack McDonald, Senior Vice President, Stablecoins of Ripple. So what I'm pointing out about the Securitize situation is you do know that Securitize is heavily connected to BlackRock. BlackRock, one of the largest asset manager in the world is teamed up with Securitize, very tight knit. And now you have them sharing a stage with Ripple, which is massive in itself. But now let's take a look at what Securitize announced back in October 28th, 2025, and which now makes sense as to why they're at Ripple Swell. So take a look on your screen. We have Securitize, the leading tokenization platform to become a public company at $1.25 billion valuation via business combination with Cantor Equity Partners 2. It says tokenize the world. So that's important because you have Larry Fink coming out and saying we are going to tokenize the world. Everything's going to be tokenized. And again, they are heavily tied to Securitize. Securitize comes out and says they're going to do that. And now they're also sharing a stage with Ripple at Ripple Swell, talking about tokenization going forward. So you can see you're at the doorstep. You're almost there. Don't get shaken out. Don't get fudded out. Be patient. Do your education. Make sure you have strong conviction in their projects and you understand what they're doing. Because when you understand what you hold, you don't get shaken out. You see the game and you play along with them. That's all I have for you in this video. But hey, as always, take care of yourself. Take care of the people around you and become that change you want to see. I'll see you on the next one.